Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a video on Black Ops 7. So yeah, obviously news has got around that we're going to be going straight into BO7 right after BO6, which I think a lot of people are kind of like joking about and things like that, but it's supposed to be some sort of like a BO2 remake of some sort, maybe. Which I think is pretty good because BO2 is definitely one of the most like landmark-ish CODs that we've ever had, really. I think it was probably one of the most played CODs as well. But I kind of want to give my 2 cents on this because obviously a lot of people are kind of, I guess, being very critical of this game, obviously, because it is set in the future by 10 years, I think it said. So obviously there's going to be things like robots and stuff like that. Whether there's going to be movement tech, I don't know. But yeah, I just want to give my kind of feedback on that. So where my kind of standpoint is on this kind of issue, if you want to call it an issue, is that I think it's good if we had another BO3 Advanced Warfare kind of futuristic Call of Duty. Whether it'll have like movement, like the jetpacks and stuff, like in them Call of Duties or not, I don't know. But where I basically stand is I like them kind of CODs. They're my favourites because that's what I'm just used to. I'm used to having the y-axis be a potential for getting a bit of an advantage on an enemy. You know, in all the Call of Duties, you kind of almost on like a flat footing in most situations. Of course, you can go on top of builds and stuff like that in a lot of Call of Duty multiplayer games, but for the most part, you pretty much fight on the same Y level, and what I mean by that is like the same level ground. Whereas in BO3 and Advanced Warfare, we could wall climb, we could wall ride, all this sort of shit. We could do so much. We could just jetpack in the air behind cover, go whip around and everything, just jump around, go underwater. It was so fun. BO3, I love it. Unfortunately, no one plays that now. So it would be pretty fun to have another more up-to-date kind of futuristic Call of Duty with like jetpacks. Whether it'll be the same as BO3, because obviously a lot of people complained about jetpacks because they are too futuristic. It's not the traditional Call of Duty, but I think people need to realise that every single Call of Duty that we've got in the last decade or however long has been boots on the ground. It's always been the exact same. And that is why I don't enjoy Call of Duty anymore. I switched off after BO4 because it was just the same old, same old. Now, in hindsight, BO4 is probably what I would actually go for if I were to like say like a futuristic Call of Duty. I would, take the abilities and things like that from BO4 and make that into a new Call of Duty because obviously we do have BO6 kind of abilities where if you have like all the different perks together, you kind of get like a specialist kind of class perk. But it's not the same. Obviously, BO4 we had abilities where we obviously had like the little heal thing as like our little tactical kind of thing that we could change around. And then we actually had one ability as well that we could use. Little things like that make it so that the gameplay is customizable. It's not the same thing every single time. You can play a more supportive role, you can play a more defensive role, and that's when you get into like things like competitive. Of course, you can have competitive scenes without classes and things like that, but it definitely adds a new layer to it because now you have different types of play styles, and that's what I like. I like seeing different varieties in play styles that you can play in the same match. That's why I like Apex Legends so much. And that's why I really like how they've honed in on them classes in Apex now. And it has made the game more fun. And more interesting than watching on the competitive side as well. But obviously for Call of Duty, I'm not interested in this stuff because it is just the same old, same old. You just use whatever weapon that is meta, and that's it. That's the only thing that is being changed and differentiating. If you add things like abilities, then you can customize them as well, and the abilities can then work with certain types of weapons really well. So it adds new layers. Anyway, so that's my little rant about obviously the current state of Call of Duty and the fact that we don't actually have abilities anymore, never mind like jetpacks and stuff like that. But obviously jetpacks, they add the whole y-axis into the whole mix of things. You're allowed to go around your enemies without having to go around on the ground. You can use a jetpack and go around. Now, whether this will actually come to the next Call of Duty or not, I don't know. It wasn't shown in the trailer at all, like any jetpacks or nothing, so obviously that's great. I don't think jetpacks are very healthy, to be honest, because obviously it does limit the kind of the skill ceiling a little bit. Sorry, no, I said that wrong. It does increase the skill ceiling, but it limits the amount of players that can actually do well in some matches, especially if skill-based matchmaking is very bad, which I know in previous Call of Duties and, you know, the one that we have right now, 𝗲𝗁, skill-based matchmaking is pretty bad. So if you are going to be playing in multiplayer and have someone whizzing around with a jetpack, I can see why that can be quite annoying. But at the same time, having jetpacks, it does increase that skill ceiling. So if you get good at a jetpack, you get good at the game. So yeah, there's definitely benefits to having them and not having them. But I just want something different. That's what I really want. I want something different in a Call of Duty. I like my futuristic cards. I like having like mobility and stuff like that. Whether that's going to be tied behind the abilities that they introduce, if there are going to be any, I don't know. But I would just like something different, because when I've seen specialists and stuff like that in the new Call of Duty, in the 𝗏𝗏 new Call of Duty, I was like, ooh, is this like new abilities and stuff like that? Because obviously I hadn't played Call of Duty in a while. No, it isn't. So it's just a bit disappointing, but I would like to hear what you guys think, because obviously a lot of people are saying that the futuristic cards and stuff like that, like, they don't really like. And I just say to that, it's one Call of Duty, you know, out of the 10 that we've got that are all being like either Modern Warfare or World War II or like set current day. You know, it's always been just the same old, and I would like a little bit of the futuristic cards because that's my favourite. So for them people that are saying that, that's my response. And for the people who are complaining about the fact that like it's another Black Ops right after another one, I don't see the problem with that, because I do feel like the Black Ops series does best. And so if Activision is going ahead and just doing the best series that makes sense, most profits, I mean, that's completely understandable, to be honest, because if most people like the Black Ops series, then why not just keep doing the Black Ops series? You know what I mean? They don't have to always like stick to the same cookie cutter kind of format, because that's when people get bored. And we've seen it quite a lot in Apex, to be honest. So yeah, I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think jetpacks should be added to the next Call of Duty? Do you like them? Do you not? Do you want abilities back in the game? I certainly do. It adds so many new layers to the game, and it would actually make me want to play multiplayer and not just zombies. And yeah, me personally, I really hope that they build on what they already have done with the zombies in this Call of Duty to the new Call of Duty, 𝗏𝗏. Hopefully we'll see some returning cool maps, because we haven't seen that in 𝗏𝗏6 as of yet. So hopefully we'll get like a remaster version of every 𝗏𝗏2 map. That'll be very, very cool in 𝗏𝗏7. So yeah, please let me know what you guys think about this, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.